Hello, and welcome to a Reinvent Yourself podcast. I am Lisa Andrea, and I want to thank you for listening and watching today because this is our first video interview. My goal is to share insights from successful people in order to help others with the reevaluate, restore, and reinvent journey. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram and like me on Facebook. Go to my website, reinvent-urself.com, and click on the social media links. My guest today is Susan Wheeler. Susan Wheeler is a certified wellness coach and has been working in the health and nutrition industry for 7 years. She is a mother of 4, lives with her husband, and a grandmother of 7, and an avid ultra marathon runner. Susan lives with her husband and 2 youngest children on their organic vegetable farm, Stonedrift Farm in Goshen, Connecticut. She is passionate about educating people to take charge of their diet and mindset. Her first book, The Lemonade Diet, will be published late this year. Yay! Susan, prior to Isagenix, took the reinvention journey from working in a direct sales industry job and raising her children to becoming the successful certified wellness coach that she is today. And just a little added tidbit, we went to high school together.
I know.
In Torrington, Connecticut. So that's how I know Susan, and which is many years ago, but we won't get into that.
We look just like we did in our yearbook. Look at us now. Exactly the same.
Thank you, Susan, for agreeing to allow me to interview you, and I thank you for coming. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So, when did you realize you wanted to reinvent yourself and become a wellness coach rather than working for a corporation as a salesperson?
Well,
so tell us about your initial start of your journey. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I have really dabbled here and there my whole life, but I've been a stay-at-home mom, and it was kind of cool to be able to stay at home and raise my kids. And I did little things here and there, but I never went to college. So I always kind of felt like, how am I going to break out into, the corporate world or do anything meaningful without that education? And I really had to dig deep and think, how am I going to do this? Because unlike a lot of people, I did not want to go back to school. My youngest was born when I was 40. And the thought of going back to school when I had one that was heading off to college and I was a grandmother at the time did not appeal to me. No, not at all. So I really started to think about, what am I passionate about? And long story short, one of my very close friends was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was really just so close to her and her story, and really trying to figure out what was it that that was causing all these, young mom pregnant with her 3rd son to be so sick. And it wasn't the first thing I had heard, but it was the closest thing to me, the touched me the most. And really started looking into nutrition at that time. And so myself being, we had an organic farm. Well, actually, our organic farm came just sort of on the heels of her illness. So it was really sort of this, what can we do to make a difference and change our health and our family's health and our life? So I really, really got passionate about health and nutrition. So it's been about 16 years that I've really been involved in studying and learning and preaching and teaching on nutrition. So we started this farm, and it really opened my eyes to just a lot of health issues in the world. And I wanted to reach more people. But if you know Connecticut, where you're from Connecticut, you're in California now, and it's but this little tiny corner of Connecticut, and our farm, we feed about 20 families a year, but that's it. And then that's great. However, I really wanted to reach more people. And so from deciding not to go to school, finding my passion, which really was a driving passion to me, because not only did that force me to kind of look at nutrition and our food and how it related to health and illness, but I became a runner at that time.
Oh.
And I ran my very first race because Lisa, my friend, was going through chemotherapy at the time, pregnant with her third baby. And I wanted to do something that was difficult, but a lot of people shave their heads to be, to be bonding with their friends. I didn't want anyone to think I was sick. I wouldn't have minded shaving my head, but I didn't want people to look at me and have sympathy for me. And so I felt like, what could I do that'd be really hard? And I had had a pretty bad accident years before. And so coming off of that, I had a lot of arthritis and a lot of pain and inflammation in my body. So I thought, what could be harder than running? I'd never run a race in my life. So,
and you went straight for the marathon.
Well, no, not yet. I did a 7-mile race, my first race out of the gate.
That's a lot.
From 4 weeks of training, I ran never running a step in my life. I ran a 7-mile race, and it was the catalyst of everything, the success I was having, in my life. And I was involved in a different company, a direct sales company that was food, but there was not healthy food. But it was fun, and I learned a lot, and there was so much personal development along the way that when I found my home where I am now with Isagenix, it was just I was ready. I was ready to be here. So
branch out on your own and have your own wellness coach. So to start out, when you decided to make this change, did you craft a plan? Was there an actual plan written out, or how did you craft the plan of really becoming a successful wellness coach and getting into Isagenix, which is your main, what you include in your wellness coaching? And I think that came later, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you the timeline. And this is going to scare everyone that's taking notes, but I call myself a wing it girl, and I like to fly by the seat of my pants, and I jump, and then I hope I have a parachute, or maybe it will open, or maybe it won't. So I kind of like to dive in.
Well, that's not a problem. I just wrote a blog post. If you're scared to do something, start doing it. And then all of a sudden, 2-3 weeks, a month later, you're in the middle of it and you're not scared anymore because you're actually doing what you wanted to do. So you are the direct example of that. Yeah.
You're right. Because when you overthink things, there's so many reasons that can get in your way that you can say, oh my gosh, who am I to think I can do this or whatnot. But what I did do is when I left that other company, and I really knew that it didn't align with everything I believed in and what I was sort of teaching, and with the farm, et cetera. It was a lot of fun. I would never change it for the world. I learned so much. I met so many people that are my friends today, but it wasn't serving me. And I literally searched an online course to learn to be a wellness coach. And I did it all online, and I became a certified wellness coach. And the funny thing about it is I have all that training, and it really kind of came naturally to me because I understood really how it worked. So it was kind of cool, and to sort of say, oh, I get this. But I use it today, but I don't really coach a lot of people one-on-one anymore, because with my Isagenix business, all of my customers become my coaching clients, and it's all part of the package.
Okay.
So I don't have to do it separately, but I feel like I do a really great job because I've got all this, behind me. So I was doing it here, and I definitely have had coaching clients that I've worked with, mostly virtual, things like this on a Zoom link or on the phone. But when I really dove into adding the nutrition end of it, because I knew the nutrition was missing. When I was coaching clients in wellness, if they weren't feeling good about their body or their energy or their health, they couldn't tackle all those other things, like maybe, leaving a job, or in a relationship that they weren't happy with, or dealing with their children, or all those things. And when I put two and two together and realized that if they felt better, they could deal with things easier. And being here, I could only, like I say, feed 20 families. We're not set up to ship food and whatever, but our nutrition program, I can reach, the masses. I think I have over 32,000 customers.
Oh my gosh.
All over the country. So
Yeah.
that's been, that was kind of a game changer for me, and a big aha that I could really help more people that way.
Which is interesting, because your passion was about helping people, and you decided pretty much early on that you didn't want to limit it to a certain amount. You really wanted to be open to being able to serve people all over the country, if not all over the world, except for the time differences. You have that flexibility with technology and everything we're using like today.
Absolutely. And we have people in Australia that we work with, and talk about a time change, from some of those places, but we make it work.
So what step in this whole journey had the most obstacles and difficulty, and why?
Getting started was a little tricky. I was just passion on fire. I was so excited about what I had. For me, I had to make sure it was a product-based company, and it's a network marketing company, which is sort of the up and coming thing right now. So many products are moved through network marketing because just for a million reasons, I won't get into all the details of network marketing, but what was probably the most difficult for me is friends and family. They see you in one light, and then suddenly you're doing something different. And if I was doing something different at an office and I drove my car to work and I was in my cubicle, nobody would know what I was doing, right? Then I come home from work and I would just be mom. But what I do now, I am in the limelight. I do everything really online via social media. I do a lot on Facebook and Instagram. We hold our meetings and everything online. So I put myself out there, and that's the hardest thing, because you get a lot of ridicule, a lot of haters, a lot of doubters. And so, like I say, you can sort of do whatever you want in your company, in your office, where your peers, your friends and family, they don't really see what you're doing. But when you're doing it like me, you can't look around here, but I have, a beautiful view of Lake Wheeler, and I'm in my home office, but my kids can all, actually my son works with me in the business.
Yes, very successful. I've seen that.
Yeah, he's very successful. And he sort of just grew up hearing me, and, on the phone, in the car, on the phone, Zoom meetings, wherever I go, I'm meeting someone, etc. And it is a change for some people. And that was probably the hardest part, was getting over what people thought of me. I had to stop caring. Not that I don't love these people, but I had to stop letting that because that can take you out of the game. I work with a lot of people, so I help people with their health and wellness, but I also help people that want to do this business. And it's funny, because as soon as they get a couple of rejections, they're out. And that's where, and so this podcast is fabulous, because you're talking about reinventing yourself. And I've listened to a few of the ones that you've done. And, people are changing from, they're doing this and they're doing this, right?
Yeah.
And it's great, but it is something that it's the hardest part, I think, is having people believe in you. And you have to understand that you really have to believe in yourself. Okay. And that's where your belief has to come from, because if you're hoping that everyone is going to pat you on the back and say, good job, it's not going to happen. It's not.
Which leads me to the next question. For those people that did support you and were your mentors, gave you the most assistance in moving in the direction that you wanted to move in?
Well, I am going to give a shout out to my BFF, Cindy Walter, who really she believed in me when I didn't. I remember meeting her 16 years ago at a direct sales, party. She was doing it. And I remember her saying to me, and we were strangers at the time, she said, "You would be really good at this." And I said, absolutely not. I had 2 babies at home, and I said, I don't even have time to shave my legs. I said, I can't do anything else. But what those words that she said to me, "You would be good at this," I went home and I couldn't sleep that night. I couldn't sleep because someone who didn't know me saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I think it just takes that one person to believe in you and give you that courage to go on. So we worked in our other business together, and now we are partners in this business as well. And she has 4 children. All of our kids are kind of the same age. They're grown and practically gone now. And we have just remained. She lives in Ohio. We talk every day, but it is important to have that one person. And I'm not saying my family supported me. My husband was a great support to me. My kids, even though they said if we'd be walking to the grocery store, they'd say, "Are you going to talk to somebody?" You're not going to talk to somebody, are you?
It's a passion. Now your son understands, right? Because he's actually involved and it's his passion now too, right?
Absolutely. It's so funny how it turns around. So there have definitely been people in my life along the way that have encouraged me, that have believed in me. But then you have those people that are just sort of, not that they want you to fail, but I think a lot of people have sort of just a negative attitude, and they're not ready to change themselves. So when they see you changing, it's kind of like, well, that's never going to work. Why, don't try something new, because what if you fail? And what happens? What if you fail, right? How many great successful people in this world have failed over and over and over again?
Yeah, I cite Michael Jordan. That's what I was saying. And you learn from every failure. You
Absolutely. It's not even right. And it's a lesson. It's not even a failure. Right.
Right.
So.
And having that courage, I've told people, even when I retired from AT&T after 33 years, there were people I worked with that said, "Do you think you can get another job? What are you going to do? How are you going to do this?" But 30 days later, I had another job, but you don't have as much vacation time. Yeah, I had 4 weeks vacation time. It served me well. I was fine. So I was able to take that step, and that's what takes the courage. And it's the faith in yourself, just like you said. It's really faith in yourself. And
Right.
when you do it, it's funny, when you start to get on this journey, you don't even have any doubts anymore. You know that this is what you want to do. And I've heard that from other people that I've interviewed. And as soon as they started on the journey, they were just ecstatic. They knew, this is where I'm supposed to go. I'm going every day. I take it a step and an action that gets me to that place. And I don't think about doubt. I have complete confidence, and this is what the universe wanted me to do. So this is what I'm doing. And I'm not stepping back, and I'm not having any doubts. That's when you know you're on the right path. That really does.
Absolutely. And what we like to say too is I work with a personal development company, and we say, what you focus on, you find. What you focus on, you grow. What you focus on seems real, and what you focus on, you become. So when we're focused on doubt and lack and worry, that's all we end up with. But you lost your job or retired or whatever you did, and you just focused on, okay, what's next? And that's why you're successful, because you didn't look back, you looked ahead, you had that vision, you had the blinders on. So
there are going to be days, even though you've been so successful and you're a very positive person, I have to imagine there have been days in the beginning, even when you had doubts, when you had those days where you had some setbacks or something happened, or even just in your regular everyday life when this feeling comes around. And especially at our age with our hormones and everything going, it really happens. What do you do to get overcome those types of setbacks or those days, those bad days?
Yeah, I've learned that you can have a moment. You can't let it string out into a long time. So, you know, it helps to talk to someone who's positive and who is supportive of you. It helps to listen to a great podcast of someone who has probably gone through something similar or has been successful. I definitely love to read, and I read all the time. I'm always reading something, and I'll read novels because it's fun just to kind of get lost in something, but I love to read books on personal development. Jen Sincero, you know, You Are a Badass. She's fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
And I love Rachel Hollis, Girl, Wash Your Face. And so any books like that, Brandon Bouchard, I love Grant Cardone, you know, oh gosh, 10X Factor. And then what's his other book that I love? Be Obsessed or Be Average. Or be average, or be obsessed or be average. So it's like there's just so many fabulous books, or books. Shoe Dog, you know, the CEO of Nike, and his story of rejection, and all these things. And then you read that and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, and I'm complaining over a return of a product, you know, or someone that said no to me. And then I think, that's small fish. So that is really what helps me, plugging into positivity. Big time.
Awesome. I like that. Everybody has their tips. And thank you for all those book recommendations. I'm going to listen to this and write them down and add them to my website, because I like to add any self-help books that are really helpful to people. So I'm going to add those to the list.
Awesome.
What would you like to share with others that's the most important advice in embarking on reinventing yourself? What do you think, what would you like to share with others that's a really important piece of advice?
You know, I'm going to say it's going to get old, but it really is belief. And it is the power of believing in yourself, because we could just drown in one spot if we listened to everyone that you know, all those dream stealers out there. When you know, I do some speaking, and I like to use this analogy. When I have 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and every one of them, thank God, can walk. They were born healthy, and, you know, but when they were learning to walk, they fell a lot. And it was cute, but there was never a day where myself or my daughter would, or, you know, our parents or whatever would say, oh, you know, you really suck at this. Like, just don't even bother. You know, you fell down 25 times today, and this is just not for you. And, but because it's part of growing. And when we're reinventing ourselves and we're trying something new, it's messy in the beginning. We're not perfect. We're not professional. We don't know it all. We never know it all. I learn every single day. So I encourage people to give themselves, think about that little toddler that's learning to walk, and, you know, but it's different when we're older, because there are people that are saying, maybe you should, you know, go back to this, or maybe you shouldn't try that. It really is a matter of, when we're young, we believe anything's possible. And as we get older, we lose that belief in ourselves. And you just have to develop that unshakable belief. And like I say, there are days when it's tough for me, but I plug into something positive, even listening to good music that's powerful. I work out every day. You know, just listen to some music, and we have something we call our power move. Yeah, you know, and it's like, yes, yes, yes. And when you move, and Tony Robbins will tell you, if you've ever seen any of his, you know, been to any of his events, or even seen him, he was at one of our events, and he says that movement is everything. So get yourself moving, and you know, change your your makeup and how you feel and get those endorphins going. And that really is so helpful. It's so helpful.
Wow, you've shared a lot of information. You've been extremely inspiring in talking to you. And I've been inspired by you for several years now, since we reconnected on Facebook.
Thank
But
goodness.
is there any part of this journey that we didn't talk about, that you didn't share, that you'd like to share with the listeners? Anything?
Gosh.
I don't want to miss anything. I've got this certain period of time and I don't want to miss it.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've done is I've learned that you're never there. So I have this very successful nutrition business, and I love it. And I'm serving people all over the world, actually. And a lot of times I think people, accomplish something and they're kind of like, okay, I'm always looking for what's next, what's next. So I think it's important to realize that you're never there and never stop growing. So, when I was running, I started with a 7-mile race, and then I did a half marathon, and boy, that scared me to death, but I did it. I couldn't believe it. And then I ran a marathon, and it was like, oh my gosh. And I've run so many marathons now, I've lost track. But then I upped it again, and I'm running ultra marathons, which is an ultra marathon is anything over 26 miles. And my longest run has been 38 miles.
Wow.
So and I'd love to run 50 miles if my body permits, but I'm always, upping that. So in every area of your life, I recently became an advisor. So I'm a certified coach for a company called Growth U, and we do personal development programs. And at first I was a little nervous. I was invited to be part of this amazing community. And I thought, we have the farm, and, I help my husband with his business and do other book work. I have my business, and I'm writing my book, and this is one more thing, but it all melds together. So if you're kind of just, I think it's good to branch out and keep what you have, but bring in some more things, because it just adds more. And any people that you see that are very successful, they've got a lot of different things going on, wearing a lot of different hats. So I think that that's what I would encourage everyone to do. It might not be that one thing, because when you're either bored or stagnant or doubtful, or maybe there's a dip in your business, you've got something else to focus on, and then something good will happen there, and you can bring it to so it all mixes together. So that's probably,
and it does help to be in really good shape health wise, and to have, because you have all that energy to do everything, right? I had someone say to me, and it actually was my boyfriend, who said, don't you just want to retire? You can just stop working and retire. I go, no, I never want to stop working. It's what keeps me alive. I mean, they say it's proven that during wartime, there are less suicides, because having even a negative thing going on, but having something that's going on is going to keep you moving. And whenever you keep moving, you don't have time to be depressed. You don't have time to think about things. You are constantly moving, and you're going towards, hopefully in my case, and everyone that's listening, you're reinventing yourself to your passion. You're following your bliss. And that, to me, I believe, is what everyone should do. And I know you followed your bliss. You followed your passion. And that's what everybody should learn. Don't be afraid. You can do it, right? I can do it, which is what is now the hashtag and the phrase from the Golden Globe Awards, right? I can do it.
I can do it.
So how do you feel? One last thing, and I always ask this question at the end, and you don't have to do it in one word, however way you want to say it, but how do you feel now that you are living and have been living, but living your really authentic self in your life and your work? How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel very calm. Even though I get animated and excited, the hardest thing for me all, through those years, yes, I was raising my beautiful children and I was so blessed to be home with them, but I knew that they would be up and out and I was not going to be able to sit around. And it was very stressful mentally for me to not know what was next. And so now what I've learned through so much personal development and what I do in helping people is there's always something that you have to be open and not a stressed achiever, but just be calm and open. So I'm ready for the next thing. If you're too in your head, you don't even see it. It could just pass you by and you don't even know it's there. So it's kind of calm down, take a step back, trust in the universe. We were talking before our call about the secret, and really the law of attraction is when you settle your thoughts and calm yourself, things will come to you. They really do.
Yep. I am, and I've started walking the walk as of October 31st, 2018. So I am now on board. It took me a while. I'm older, but I am on board and I'm so excited to share this and help people do the same thing, because there are so many people that are stuck, so many people that have been laid off, are retired and don't know what to do, empty nesters. I mean, there's just so many people that hate what they're doing and they've hated it for years, but it paid the bills, and now they're older. Those of us that are older, that have planned ahead, that have put money away, we have that time and that luxury of being able to find ourselves and follow our bliss. Thank you, Susan, for so much, for being here, for letting me interview you and sharing your valuable information, because it's going to help so many other people. And this is just another way for you to get your message out. And I really, really appreciate it. If everyone could look, I'm going to put all the ways of getting in touch with Susan at the bottom of this video before I post it to the world. And I really, really wish you a lot of luck in writing your new book, Lemonade Diet, and I'm really excited to read it. Thank you so much for being on this Reinvent Yourself podcast interview. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.